The fifth learning objective in section 4.1 says recognize, illustrate, and/or explain how values of central tendency and variation are related to the shape of a distribution. You take a biology test and the class mean is 70%, but the class median is 85%. The score on your test is an 81%. Circle the correct statement below that gives a statistically correct interpretation about the distribution of biology test scores and about your test score in comparison to the class. There are a few different concepts that we have to understand in order to be able to answer this question. The first is what the mean and the median are. They are both measures of central tendency, or center, but they are computed differently. The mean is the average, or the balancing point of the distribution. The median is the value that splits the data in half, such that there's 50% below it and 50% above it. That will only equal the balancing point if the distribution is symmetric. If it's not symmetric, then the balancing point is not right where it splits the data in half. Notice that if there's 50% below the value, that means that the median can also be called the 50th percentile. The next concept that we need to know is how shape affects the mean and the median. The median is what we call a resistant measure, which means that if there's skewness or outliers, the median isn't really affected by that. The mean, however, is not resistant, and it gets pulled in the direction of any skewness or towards any outliers. So it gets pulled towards the longer tail in a skewed distribution. So if the class mean is 70% and the median is 85%, that tells us that the mean has been pulled further to the left towards the smaller numbers, which are on the left side of the number line. So therefore, this distribution is left skewed. Let's look at these possible answers. The class has a few students that had extra low scores, making the distribution right skewed. Well, there are going to be extra low scores, but that makes the distribution left skewed, as we talked about. Okay, let's look at answer B. The class has a few students that had extra low scores, making the distribution left skewed. So far, so good. Your score is below the 50th percentile. Well, my score is 81%, which is below the median of 85%. And remember that the median can also be called the 50th percentile. So that's our correct answer. Let's verify that C and D are both incorrect. If you look at them, they actually both say that the score is above the 50th percentile. And we know that 81% is below 85%, which is the 50th percentile. Let's look at the next example. Brickyard Bakery is trying to predict how many loaves to bake. In the last 100 days, they have sold between 90 and 140 loaves per day. The dot plot of the number of loaves they sold for the last 100 days is given. Which do you expect to be larger, the mean or the median number of sales? Explain your reasoning. Well, if we look at this histogram or this dot plot, we can see that the shape is right skewed. So if I draw sort of a curve across the top of those dots, we can see that the right tail is pulled out much longer than the left tail. So if this is right skewed, it means that the mean will get pulled to the right towards the bigger numbers along the number line. Therefore, the mean will be bigger than the median. So let me add that explanation in to this box. The distribution is right skewed, so the mean will be larger than the median.